about fuel Britannia, which you've got on that tanker behind us. Why do you think fuel security is so important, and what would you do differently to what the Prime Minister is saying is the government's position?
Energy is growth. Without it, our country dies. We need to get Britain working again, and we need a serious energy policy. Labour's approach is killing jobs. It's making people's bills go sky high. Manufacturing is disappearing from the country. So we have a cheap power plan that's going to fuel Britannia, get Britain working again. And what's in it is scrapping the green taxes on our household bills. Those taxes are just making everything worse. Stopping the fuel duty rise that Labour's planning. This is not the time to be increasing fuel duty. And we need to drill our own oil and gas in the North Sea instead of importing it from Norway, who are drilling in the very same sea.
One of the major news stories at the moment is the fact that the Prime Minister's former Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, had his phone stolen. Your party seems to be raising an eyebrow and raising questions about this. What exactly are you suggesting may have happened?
Well, we are all raising eyebrows at this story. The Prime Minister's Chief of Staff is someone who has access to a lot of information. The fact that the police transcript says that he made a report and didn't tell them who he was. I mean, anyone could have stolen that phone. Could have been China, could have been Russia. I think that there are a lot of questions that need answering, and what we need is for Morgan McSweeney and, let's be frank, Keir Starmer to come clean about what happened and why this report was not escalated to the security services.
I just want to press that. Do you think there's been wrongdoing here?
Well, we don't know, but the story doesn't add up. It is very suspicious that the phone got stolen after I'd asked about Peter Mandelson and he'd been sacked. It was very clear that a lot of documents were going to come out. So that's what makes it suspicious. If they want to quell the suspicion, they need to come clean and answer a lot of questions.
You were here talking about fuel. One of the reasons why fuel prices went up previously was because of the war in Ukraine. Now we have a conflict in Iran. British intelligence has showed that Russia has been aiding Iran in the current conflict. Do you think Russia or Iran is a bigger threat to the UK?
Russia and Iran are both threats. The security services can tell us which one is the bigger threat. But this is why I want a government that is clear-eyed about the threats that are facing our country. When the Conservative government had COVID or the war in Ukraine, we had done a lot of work to make sure the economy was in a good place so we could spend the money where it was needed. Labour has not done any of that work. Instead, they've been splurging on benefits, giving money to their pet causes, their pet projects, and now we are the worst placed in the G7 to weather an energy crisis.
Again, talking about both Russia and Iran, we know British forces are in advanced preparations to board and detain ships in Russia's so-called shadow fleet. We also saw how long it took for HMS Dragon to get to Cyprus because of the conflict. What do you make of the readiness of the Navy and British defence more generally?
I'm very concerned that this is a government that has not thought about defence and is only looking at things in hindsight. We need to increase defence spending. It went down every year between 1989 and 2022 because various governments believed there was peace in the world. Once that changed, the Conservatives started spending more money on defence. We need to spend even more. This government doesn't have a plan. And the fact that it took HMS Dragon 3 weeks to get to its destination shows that they are thinking too late. They are too slow to act. They need to do better to protect British servicemen and women who are in bases that we have put in other people's countries.
And my last question. Last time I spoke to you, you were talking about a social media ban for those under the age of 16. We've had the US court case overnight. Will that change your position on how we regulate social media for you?
The US court case actually reinforces my position on a social media ban for under 16s. Social media is no longer new technology. We've now had time to observe its effects. We've seen a whole generation of young people go through it, and what we've seen is increased anxiety, increased depression. These platforms are designed to be addictive, and I don't think that these big tech companies should be profiting off our children's mental health. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. It is time to fuel Britannia. Labour's approach is killing jobs, it's killing manufacturing, it's killing industry, and it is impoverishing households, families, and businesses up and down the country. Energy is growth. Without it, we are nothing. Why are we fueling Britannia? Because we need to make sure that we can get Britain working again. Yesterday, we all heard the Prime Minister tell us that he's not in charge of the country, that actually it's Ed Miliband who's running things. I think that's wrong. This is not about whether we should use renewables or not use renewables. This is about making sure we use our own resources. At a time when there is an energy crisis, we need a government that can get Britain working again, and Labour is not it. They will try and pretend that all the problems have started because of the war. That's not true. We have been telling them to do this for nearly 2 years. And who is hurting? It's families who are struggling to pay their bills. They don't know that those bills are high because of Ed Miliband's green taxes. It's van drivers who are running around the country trying to get things working again. And what's Rachel Reeves planning to do? Increase fuel duty. We have a brilliant industry, North Sea oil and gas, that is dying because of Labour. And we're here to say enough. We want people to thrive in this country, so we have a cheap power plan for them. It's going to scrap the crazy green taxes, which Ed Miliband has put on everyone's household bills. It's going to stop the rise in fuel duty, and it's going to make sure that we drill our own oil and gas in the North Sea. It is completely crazy that Keir Starmer has stopped British companies from drilling in the North Sea while he is importing gas from Norway, who are drilling in the very same basin. This is madness. We need to put everything out there. We need nuclear, we need renewables, we need oil, we need gas, we need wind. But what's he doing? He is pretending that oil and gas are bad. I am saying now that we can bring everyone's energy bills down by 20% with our cheap power plan. It is time to fuel Britannia. It is time to scrap the silly tax rise which Rachel Reeves is putting on fuel duty. It is time to get Britain working again. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Can I have you guys looking over here? Perfect.
Great, and then we'll do some. So let me.
Yeah, I'll go up if you want to go down.
And then I wonder if we do one on the side, guys. Looking, yeah, one.
Get you sort of back in the out of the door of the.
Yeah, we can do that as well.
Are you happy with it?